Hi everyone, this is Rose from Little Miss Rose and welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be setting up my bullet journal for November 2020. So grab your pens and your notebook and plan with me. So I was recently gifted some pens from Archer and Olive. These are the Acrylograph pens and I'm going to be using these to create my spreads this month. Now these three pens are from the new colours, the warm fall and the cool fall selections. So these pens are paint pens and you need to give them a good shake before you use them in order to get the paint flowing out of them. And here I've just used the thicker pens, which are 3mm, because I'm just going to be doing lots of blocks of colour with them. Just did a quick check to see that the pens didn't bleed through the page, and they haven't. I'm actually using an Imprint XYZ notebook which has 160 GSM pages, and I find it's really good for watercolour and paint and any of your juicy brush pens like Caran markers. So this month my theme is abstract shapes and basic floral line drawings. This brush pen I'm showing you now is actually the free gift you get when you make an order from Hobonichi. It is a Pentel pen, but specifically branded for Hobonichi. I did earlier this month or last month, I made an order from Hobonichi. I bought myself an A6 Avec. So the A6 Avec is actually the A6 planner, but it's split into two notebooks, one for the first half of the year and one for the second half of the year. It's a dated planner and I plan on using the pages for daily journaling so that I don't have journaling in my bullet journal next year. We'll see how that goes. So as you can see, my theme this month is really basic and easy. The Acrylograph pens dry really fast, so I can just whack that on the page and then do the line drawing on top and I'm done. Not like last month. If you managed to check that out, I used paint and I had to mix the paint to the right colour and then apply it to the pages and wait for it to dry before I could use pen over the top. So I'm just going a bit simpler this month just because last month was a bit more challenging. Also a change from last month, I'm going back to my usual calendar format for my monthly log. I did do the list type monthly log last month and I actually really struggled with that because I couldn't see quickly, you know, the days of the week and when the weekend was. Probably because I didn't add the days of the week down the side, I just had the dates down the side, which was a bit stupid of me. But anyway, back to my usual calendar format. My squares in the calendar are a bit smaller than usually. These are 4x4. I think usually I do 5x6 squares, but I find I don't use all of that space, so I'm going to have a smaller actual calendar and that will leave me more room to decorate my pages. So on this page I've just gone with simple leaves, basically because it requires minimal thinking and is quick and easy. So next up, I'm sticking with my current habit tracker, which is a full page beast. This will be the third month doing this habit tracker and I really love it, having all my habits on one page and also tracking my weight along the bottom as well. So here I'm just making life easier by using some date strips, and you may notice that I forgot to cut the date 31 off the end. because November only has 30 days and I cotton on to that when I turn the page once I've finished this spread. So with these Acrylograph pens, I've used them a fair bit, just had a bit of a play with them, and I love the way the ink flows out of them and you get lovely coverage over the page. You can see it's still a little bit streaky, just like a felt tip pen, if you get what I mean, but I'm sure if you did an extra layer it'd be even more opaque and you wouldn't get those lines, those colouring in lines. Now with the darker colours you don't see the pencil underneath, whereas with the pink that I'm using there it's not quite as opaque as the other colours and you do see the pencil underneath, so I have had to erase before I use the pink on top. Next up I'm going to create my standard meal log, which I've been doing all year I think, or almost all year, and this time I actually remember to snip off that last date that we don't need for November. And my meal log is where I will record everything I eat during the day, and it's split into 4 columns: breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks. So if you're wondering about whether or not to buy these Acrylograph pens, I am aware that they are quite pricey and there's quite a few decisions to make on which ones you buy. So obviously you have to decide which colour set you want, and on top of that you have to decide whether you want the thin tip pens or the thicker tip pens. In this video I'm using only the thick ones, and I actually, before I got hold of these, I actually thought that I would prefer the smaller tip pens, which were the 0.7mm, but I actually prefer the thicker ones because I enjoy using them to colour in and fill in blocks of colour. Also, as to how they work, they do require that you give them a really good shake when you first start them up, and then you have to pump them onto a bit of scrap paper to get the paint flowing through the nib. But after that the paint usually flows through them quite well. I've only had 2 or 3 pens that seem to be a little bit scratchy out of about 4 sets. But I know that Archer and Olive customer service is really good, so if you do reach out to them if you have problems, I'm sure they will replace them for you. But I know that's not cool, like no one likes the hassle of having to return products and wait for a new set, but that's just something to be aware of. If you do decide to buy these, I do have an affiliate code which I'll link down below that you can get yourself a 10% discount. Please don't think that I'm trying to make money off you guys by throwing this at you, but if you do want to buy some, get yourself a discount because they are expensive. Okay, so carrying on, I've just done my usual spending log and I've filled in an empty page with a quote. If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving a new one. I think it follows along quite nicely after my quote from last month, which was nothing changes if nothing changes. And for this quote I used a Tombow Fudenosuke pen, a hard tip pen. It's a great little brush pen. If you're a beginner brush letterer, I highly recommend it. The hard tip makes it a lot easier to get your thick strokes and thin strokes. And that is it for my November bullet journal setup. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. I really like to know your thoughts, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I will catch you next time. Bye!